I'm a self-employed gardener and I've got an allotment which is just out the back there, so we're lucky. So this channel is sort of split. I do self-employed commercial gardening style videos and film as much as I can in the allotment. So I've got 10 questions for you today. So if you're in a position where you're looking to get into gardening, you want to run a gardening business and you're still sort of doing the research and you're watching lots of videos and reading lots of things, I've got 10 questions here that you should really ask yourself, and I've thought long and hard about them really. I've got a background in business. I went to university and got a business management degree. I was a property manager, looked after landlords' properties. That was my first job, and I'm doing this now anyway, obviously. So yeah, I've got a bit of a background, so the questions I've put together are to make you think you know, about the business side of things a little bit, if you'll take to being self-employed, if you think you'll enjoy gardening, but also if you definitely decided that you want to be a gardener. It's to get you thinking about questions that will set you off on the right footing, you know, just to give you a good start. So 10 questions here, I'm going to go through them. So the first one is probably an obvious one really. Do you think you'll be happy being self-employed? Now this is a whole different topic. I could do a whole 10 videos on it. So this is just to get you thinking, so I'm not going to go into it really here. This is just a little prompt to do your own research. If you want a video on being self-employed, pop it in the comments, because I'm more than happy to do a video on it, but you know, it's not for this video basically, but I just want to put that prompt out there. So the second one, it's a bit of a funny one. Do you think you'll be good with the general public? Now, you're working with the general public, or rather working in their gardens, and you're certainly going to be coming into contact with lots and lots of people. So, you know, you'll probably know yourself how you interact with people, and do you have good people skills, you know, are you chatty? Not that you have to be particularly chatty, but you know, it helps a little bit, especially when quoting for jobs. Getting all the information, you know, as much as possible out of the customers, so there's no kind of nasty surprises that they were expecting you to do one thing and then you just haven't done it or done another thing. So it's important. So like, do you think you'll be happy with working with the general public? What kind of gardening business do you want? Now, people just do grass cutting rounds, and that's absolutely fine. Obviously that's very seasonal if you're just cutting grass. There's some of my favourite gardens are just grass cuts, because you're in and out in half an hour and you charge, well, they're normally 20 quid is for me. As I say, you're in and out in half an hour, you just trim, bit of edging, cut the grass and you're away. Absolute dream really. And that's something I want to, like next season I want to try and get a few more like that, because it really like knocks your money up. You can do a couple of them every day really. You can add like at least probably one onto your daily round, and just on your way home even, you know, like stop off half an hour, 20-25 quid easy really. So yeah, so what kind of garden business do you want? So obviously there's various degrees. I do a sort of a full garden maintenance package, so you're pruning, obviously you're weeding, your grass cuts, I do painting, you know, fence painting, shed painting and stuff like that. Minor repairs, I haven't got asked to do too much, but repair wise, but I've made some planters for people, you know, stuff like that. So I do a few different bits of things. So yeah, so it's important to ask yourself, what do I actually want to do? Because you can like sort of niche down and just go in one direction, or you can have a bit of a, you know, package. So that's important, that one. So number 4 is, what's your budget? Now I'm talking what's your budget for tools and machinery, and also your advertising budget. So yeah, just to give you a little bit of an example, so I started 6 months ago doing this. I wasn't sure if it would take off. I don't think anyone is, you know. If it's a brand new business, you're not sure if it will take off quickly, if it will be a bit of a slow burner. So I had the sort of the idea of just trying to buy decent second-hand gear just to get us started. And you know, I bought me mower for 60 quid. That's still going strong. I realise, I know I've had a few comments saying it's not the best mower, and I know it's not the quickest mower and things, and the plan was just to buy that in, just to get us started. And for the next season in spring, I'm going to buy probably some sort of Honda Izzy or something. So if you're watching this and you've got a mower, let us know your model number and and check that out. Just to have a Google of the different mowers and things, because I'll definitely be buying a new one. So yeah, your budget for tools and your advertising now. I must say, when it came to advertising, I think I spent about 70 or 80 quid on Vistaprint. I got loads of leaflets and business cards. Now the business cards are fairly useful, I have handed quite a few of them out, but the leaflets are just sat there. I mean, I made a social media page on Facebook, and it just took off. Now I started in April though, so I'll come on to this in a minute, but so everyone was just sort of just starting to think about the gardens, and it really took off, so I haven't advertised really. I post the odd thing on there, but I don't want to take any extra work now because we're having a baby in a couple of weeks, and I just want to sort of dial it down a little bit. But yeah, it's just taken on really, done really well, word of mouth, just probably most of my jobs now. And obviously the options there advertised to push it a bit further. Obviously I think I'll start next year once everything's settled down in here with the baby and things. So another one on sort of the self-employment aspect, so like, are you self-motivated? Because it's important. You know, you've got to get up early, start your day early if you want to, or finish late. You know, are you going to only put a couple of jobs in on certain days, or are you going to really push it? Because you have to push it to get the money. You might be happy with doing a bit of a part-time thing. It's very much circumstantial. So I don't want to say you have to hammer it every day, you have to get 6-7 jobs every day, because everyone's different. So I just want to sort of prompt you again, just, you know, are you organised? Are you, you know, capable of organising your day and you know, ringing customers and changing things, you know, flexibility as well, because that's important, because you might get someone ringing and say, oh, you know, I'm going away on holiday, or COVID. I've had quite a few people saying isolating, and they didn't want us around, which is obviously fine. But yeah, so you just got to be a bit flexible and just be able to manage your diary and things. So what time of year do you want to start? So this goes back to what I was saying. I started in April, which was purely circumstantial. So I'm clinically vulnerable. I've got Crohn's, and can't even speak. So the medication that I'm on suppresses my immune system. So like during COVID and all, I was off work, and luckily that's when I got my allotment, and I was in there all the time. It was great, absolute lifesaver really, because it would have been horrible just stuck in every day. Obviously, like a lot of people were, can't imagine that. But yes, where I'm going with this. So yes, what time of year do you want to start? So I started in April, which was really lucky, because that's probably the best time to start. March, April, when everyone's just getting out in the gardens are starting to spring to life. So if you're thinking about sort of changing jobs or getting into gardening, and if it's the winter, try and just find something temporary and just get to March, you know, February, March, and do it then, because it will be a struggle, especially when you start now. Now, I'm just approaching my first winter, and I think I've got a question here. Let's have a look. Yeah, next question is what's your provisions for winter? Start leads in nicely. So I'll just talk about that now. So yeah, so provisions for winter, obviously if it's seasonal, depending on what you're doing. If you're doing grass cuts, the work will almost die off. If you're just doing grass cuts, well it will, because grass doesn't need cutting during the winter. So it's best to sort of, if you can do a few little bits of different things, branch out a little bit. Now I'm going to be buying a pressure washer. I'm going to hopefully do drives and patios, decking cleans and stuff. I've got my first one booked in for October, my first driveway clean. And I haven't started advertising yet either, so just with the baby and things. So that's hopefully going to see us through the winter, and just keep the job sort of coming, and hopefully a few garden tidies and bits and pieces, so I'll be happy with that. Obviously I'm needed in the house quite a lot. We're going to be in a few weeks time. So yeah, so what's your provisions for winter? Quite important that to think about. Lastly, I think that was 10 questions. So what are your goals? So everyone's different. You might be wanting this to be a full-time job. If you're in employment now, can you go part-time as well? There's the scope to go part-time and then try and build the gardening up on the side, and then once that reaches a certain, you know, amount of customers or monetary sort of income and things, can you then take that off and do that full-time? So yeah, just sort of, everyone's goals will be different. Do you want it just to fill a bit of time in? That's fine as well. You know, are you responsible? Does your partner not work? Are you responsible for the whole income? Just something to think about really. You've got to ask yourself, what are your goals, and keep asking yourself what are your goals as well. If you've started, keep setting targets. Now, one of my targets for next year now is to get 150 quid a day. Now I'll see sort of with the baby and things and how much I'm needed at home and blah blah blah. My partner's going on maternity for a year, so she's obviously going to be around, so hopefully I can push the business a little bit more. I did a £200 day a couple of months back, regularly go over the £100 mark. So yeah, so the target is 150 quid a day when I get back into it, sort of from the start of next season, and I'll start advertising, and then I'm sure it'll go to 200. So you've got to keep setting yourself targets, otherwise you might become a little bit stagnant and stale, and you just be going through the motions a little bit, and you've got to keep pushing personally anyway. So I think it's just in my nature, I think. But again, everyone's different. So I'll wrap it up there. Thanks for watching, guys, if you got this far, and I'll see you in the next video.